Okay, we can walk from here, Ray.
All right, so we just parked our car in the Bantam Lake boat launch here in Morris, Connecticut.
That's right. This week, we're checking out a story related to the lake.
Well, I looked this up on the way here. Bantam Lake is Connecticut's largest natural lake.
Okay.
It sits up here in Litchfield County in the northwestern part of the state. It's 947 acres in size and reaches a maximum depth of 25 feet.
So, not the deepest lake.
No, 25 feet isn't deep at all. So, what are we looking for, Jeff?
Ray, we're exploring Bantam Lake, searching for the crash site of a UFO. Hi, I'm Jeff Belanger.
And I'm Ray Auger. Welcome to episode 234 of the New England Legends podcast. If you give us just about 10 minutes, we'll give you something strange to talk about today.
Thank you for joining us on our mission to chronicle every single legend in New England, one story at a time. Did you know most of our story leads come from you? This one did, thanks to Chuck Bezio for tipping me off right after I spoke at the Morris, Connecticut Library.
It's pretty nice when our community sends in the leads. It helps a lot.
It does.
Which is why we ask you to help spread the word about what we do. Subscribe to our podcast because it's free. Then please like and share it with your friends. Posting a review for us on Apple Podcasts goes a long way in helping others find us so they can share their own local legends.
Now, before we jump into Bantam Lake's UFO story, we want to take just a minute to tell you about our sponsor, Nuati Herbals.
Well, Valentine's Day is coming up, and love is in the air.
It is.
Especially over at Nuati Herbals.
Hey, babe, can I share your blanket?
Yeah, sure. February is a month for lovers, you know.
No, Rod. I meant your share my blanket tea.
Sure, Kimberly. Since that tea promotes sensual energy, you can share my tea and my blanket.
Oh, Rod.
Share My Blanket tea from Nuati Herbals is the perfect tea to share with that special someone or even by yourself. Because, come on, you need to love yourself first, am I right?
You're totally right, Ray.
Nuati Herbals has so many great products to help you keep healthy and peaceful, especially during these cold winter months.
Now, I've never been a coffee drinker, so I love the assorted teas I have from Nuati Herbals. I look forward to my tea breaks each and every day. It's good for my body and my soul. Let Nuati Herbals help support your healthy lifestyle. Check out the Nuati Herbals website to see all their great products, and you legendary listeners, you get 20% off your order when you use the promo code LEGENDS20 at checkout. And right now, their Share My Blanket tea is $2 off, so use our promo code and save an additional 20%. Visit NuatiHerbals.com. That's Nuwati Herbals with an S.com.
Okay, Jeff, we're looking for a UFO crash site at Bantam Lake in Connecticut.
We are. And you know how many of the stories we chase date back, decades and sometimes centuries?
Oh, absolutely. Tons of these stories have been passed around for generations.
Well, this one occurred in 2012.
2012, as in 10 years ago?
Yeah, that's it. And I must admit, I missed this story when it first happened. Fortunately, it got a lot of coverage in the news and on the internet, so we can piece it together.
All right, so we don't have to travel too far back this week.
No, we don't.
Then let's head back to 2012 and check this out.
It's early in the morning on April 10th, 2012. Just about 2 a.m., when a man driving in his car near Bantam Lake sees something huge and glowing green falling from the sky. The glowing object appears to fall right into Bantam Lake, so the driver reaches for his cell phone.
911, what's your emergency?
The driver reports he's just seen a green glowing object the size of a whale fall into Bantam Lake.
Okay, that sounds like something impossible to miss.
Yeah.
But it also sounds like it could be a hoax call. Who's ever heard of something like this happening?
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. But around the same time, a Connecticut State Trooper 10 miles away in Warren calls into his dispatch that he's just seen a glowing object fall out of the sky in the area of Morris and Bantam Lake.
Okay, so between the 911 call and the State Trooper, the police now know something just happened. With so little information, police and fire are dispatched. Right now, the thinking is, maybe a plane just fell out of the sky. Maybe there was an impact near trees or a home, and now there's casualties.
But a quick search around the neighborhoods in the vicinity of the lake verify that there's nothing burning, and nothing seems amiss.
Still, out of an abundance of caution, emergency officials get in their boat and head out on the lake searching for any kind of aircraft debris or oil slicks. Law enforcement also contacts the FAA to ask if there's any reports of missing aircraft. But there's nothing. No planes are reported down, and there's no obvious signs of debris on the lake.
The sun comes up, and first responders take another look on the lake. Again, it's only 25 feet deep in the deepest part. So if something like a plane went down, you should be able to see it. I mean, at least on sonar. But there's nothing to be found.
After further investigations, the National Weather Service verifies that there was indeed a meteor shower last night.
So the meteorite theory is gaining traction. I mean, a meteorite would make sense. It could appear to be glowing and fall from the sky. But something as big as a whale? That would cause much more catastrophic damage to the area.
Now, news outlets are asking the same questions. And suddenly, we're all getting a, crash course?
I see what you did there.
On meteorites.
One of the dangers with meteorites is speed. If you lie on your back, Ray, and I drop a bullet out of my hand onto your chest from, say, a foot away, it's not going to hurt you.
I don't imagine it would. I'd hardly feel it.
Right. Now, but if I fired that same bullet at your chest from 6 feet away and it was traveling about 1,800 miles per hour...
That would do some damage.
Yes, it would. And the bullet isn't that large, but it's going to rip right through you because of the amount of energy behind it. Meteorites enter Earth's atmosphere at like 30,000 miles per hour. But once they hit the atmosphere, there's a lot of drag, which superheats the meteorite to over 3,000 degrees. It's so hot, it glows. Its surface boils as it begins to disintegrate.
Most meteorites burn up in the atmosphere. We call them shooting stars.
Sure.
If they're large enough, they don't get the chance to burn up completely, and they can hit the ground, causing a crater. We read one article about how a meteorite the size of a pea caused a 1-foot crater in a person's front yard.
So if that meteorite was the size of a whale and traveling faster than a bullet...
A splash may be the least of your problems if you live around Bantam Lake.
A splash would be the least of your problems if you live in New England. Something that big hitting the ground would vaporize a huge area. So people start wondering if this event could be something otherworldly. Could it be a UFO?
The other concern locals have around Bantam Lake is that if a meteorite landed in the lake, is it radioactive? Are they in danger? Locals start reaching out to their elected officials. They want answers.
In the coming days, the local media fills up with experts commenting on this event. If it was a meteorite, there's no danger of radiation. It's just a hunk of metal and rock. But if it wasn't a meteorite...
If it wasn't a meteorite, then what the hell was it?
And talk of UFOs landing or crashing at the lake continues to grow. Reports and speculation spread on the internet, and that brings us back to today. In the absence of concrete answers, the UFO legend grows. The witnesses to this event were reliable and corroborated, and a search for anything more logical yielded nothing.
So we're left with a UFO, an unidentified flying object.
Technically true. Unidentified, and it was a flying or falling object.
Falling or flying? It's still a UFO.
Right. So the real problem here is the size. A meteorite that large would have been devastating on the region. Plus, when a meteorite hits Earth's atmosphere, it glows from the intense heat and friction. Once it gets through the atmosphere, if there's anything left of it, it typically cools enough to stop glowing by the time it hits the ground.
All right, so we can rule out a meteorite.
Well, we can't, and here's why. We consulted a few people on this, and what this could come down to is the position of the witnesses.
What do you mean by that?
So we know the Connecticut State Trooper who called in the object was in Warren, Connecticut, which is about 10 miles to the northwest of Bantam Lake. If the driver who called 911 was also located anywhere to the northwest of the lake, then both witnesses would have the same line of sight on the object.
All right, I get that.
So if a large meteorite hit the Earth's atmosphere at an angle that made it appear to be heading directly toward the ground, and it was glowing brightly in the sky, which can and does happen, it could look like the green ball shot right into the ground, when in reality it burned up in the atmosphere hundreds of miles away, or it skipped off the atmosphere and kept going out into space.
All right, I get you. Without much perspective, something like that could look like it just hit over the hill, even if it was hundreds of miles away.
So we don't know if the witness who called 911 actually saw it splash into the lake. From where he was positioned, he may have seen the green glowing ball fall past his line of sight, say a tree line in front of him, and assumed if that streak continued, it must have landed in the lake.
Okay, I see what you mean now. From the driver's perspective, he's not wrong, but we're also not positive.
We're not. And in that gap of not knowing, a legend was born. And today, out here on Bantam Lake, we can't help but gaze skyward and wonder if we'll catch a glimpse of a shooting star. Or maybe something even more otherworldly. Either way, you better make a wish.
And I wish more of you would join our growing community of Patreon patrons.
Yes.
This group of insiders is the backbone of what we do. For just $3 per month, they get early access to new episodes, plus bonus episodes and content that no one else gets to hear. To sign up, head over to patreon.com/New England Legends.
We appreciate it when you get involved with us. Download our free New England Legends app for your smartphone. Join our super secret Facebook group where you can exchange stories and legends with thousands of other people who also love this stuff. And be sure to follow Ray and I on social media. You can find all those links on our website.
We'd like to thank our sponsor, Nuati Herbals. We'd like to thank Lauren Middleton for lending her voice acting talents this week. And our theme music is by John Judd.
Okay, Ray, you ready for some Bantam Lake UFO post-game discussion?
Absolutely. I love UFOs. I love stories about UFOs. I've never seen a UFO.
No.
You asked me that the other day.
I did.
But I've had many dreams. It's a reoccurring dream that I have about UFOs.
What happens?
And I had just read, I usually just see it. I can remember one dream specifically. I was at a friend's house and they have a big backyard and it slopes down over a lake. And everybody was sitting on the yard waiting for the show. And you would think it was a fireworks show. But UFOs started popping up in the sky and lighting up the sky. And we all sat there and watched. I remember being very uneasy, but at the same time thinking that this was normal and spectacular.
And that's
just one dream that I have.
But you saw the craft.
I saw the craft, and I just read somewhere that those dreams are real. That somebody had that's investigated this. Well, you know who it was? It was Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters.
Okay.
He had learned.
Done and done.
we're not, because he's a huge Foo Fighters. That's
it's a
that
UFO.
goes back. Yeah.
World War II, right.
But he had learned that we're not dreaming about UFOs. We're experiencing it in our sleep.
Ooh.
Something like that.
Wow, Dave. We should get Dave Grohl on.
I know. He would love to talk about this stuff.
I would love to talk to him about so much. So I actually had an experience.
You did?
I did.
Okay.
So I was 12 years old and living in Sandy Hook, Connecticut at the time. And actually, I know the date, and I'll tell you why in a second. It was May 26th, 1987. And about 10 o'clock at night, I was in bed. And my dad started screaming bloody murder from the backyard. He was closing the gate to the fence at the back of the yard. And he starts screaming, "Jeff, get out of here right now, right out here. And so I leap out of bed because that's not my dad's way, right? He never does this. So I leap out of bed and I run to the back door. What's going on? And he said, "There's a UFO in the sky right there, right now. I swear to God." And my shoulders slump. I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Dad's lost it."
How old were you again? I'm sorry.
12.
12, okay.
I start walking up the hill in our backyard. It's a small hill, just 20 feet from the back door. And I turn around, and holy cow, my jaw drops. There's this giant ring of lights coming toward us from the area of like Southbury, if you want to look at a map and see which the direction, toward us, toward like the New York state line. And it is a ring of lights. And it's moving so slow. So my dad and I move out to our driveway and then to our front yard. Our next door neighbor's yard is wide open. So it's and this craft is making the lowest hum, like just like.
How much time has passed so far?
30, 40 seconds.
Okay.
And then we watched this thing in total for probably like over 2 minutes. Wow. Which is an eternity.
Sure.
That's forever and ever, right? Like, that's a James Cameron movie.
You didn't glimpse something.
No.
You didn't glimpse something. You saw something.
Could have run inside and grabbed a camera.
Yeah.
Did not think of it. Oh. And these are well before the days of cell phones, my friends. Like, like it's not like we had one in our pocket, right? So could have loaded the film, like, could have like opened the package, so many things. So, but we're watching this thing in just the lowest hum, and it's a big circle of lights. I would guess, I mean, I don't have a good perspective of how much higher it was than us, but like it felt like it's like an acre plus in size. It was large.
Wow.
And then eventually it just sort of passed over the tree line until we just couldn't see it anymore.
Didn't go over you, just over the tree
next
line.
door neighbor's house, but then over the tree line just to where we just couldn't see it.
Yeah.
Like we were blocked by trees. And my dad and I were like, holy cow, this was amazing. The next morning, front page of the Danbury News-Times newspaper says hundreds of phone calls about this UFO. We're not crazy, right? Like tons of people saw it. And so the article goes on to explain that They claimed it was a group of Cessnas, single-engine aircraft, flying in formation as a prank. And so we were like, Cessnas? Now,
They move fast. That's aircraft.
at 12 years old, I've probably heard, I don't know, 200,000 Cessnas fly over my head, right? Like, pick a number. You know, they are lawnmowers with wings, right? They're loud.
Sure, yeah.
You know, they can only fly so slow, right?
Right.
If they fly too slow, they stall.
Like any aircraft.
Any aircraft.
Yeah.
They crash. They can't fly that slow. I've seen plenty of Cessnas fly over our house, right? But they can't go that slow from what we saw. Like, it's just creeping. And so I was like, that doesn't make – and they're loud. They're noisy, you know, all that stuff. So none of it made sense. Tons and tons of phone calls. And by the way, to put it in more perspective, in the mid-'80s, like the New York's Hudson Valley, which was not far from us at all, just 20 miles, right, had tons of UFO sightings from like 83, 84, 85, 86, you know, like tons and tons of these sightings on the Hudson Valley in New York. And so, I don't know, I feel like it was part of a bigger narrative. However, my confirmation of this event actually took place maybe like 12 years ago, 10 years ago. I was working on a UFO project, and I was looking on this UFO website, and it said, here's the famous UFO photo taken by Randy Edding of Newtown, Connecticut. And I'm like, Newtown, that's me. That's where I lived. And it had the date, you know, May 26th, 1987. And this was the UFO that was seen up and down the I-84 corridor. And if you look at the craft, I don't care if you're an aviation expert or not. If you've ever looked up and seen an airplane flying overhead, right?
Yeah.
You're expert enough. You look at this picture, because he did have enough time. He's like, I do have a camera. Let me just grab it and take a picture. And he's an airline pilot, by the way. Sort of important.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So he takes a picture, and now it's on the internet. You can see it. Just go look up Randy Edding. And you look at that, and you're like, I'm not saying it's little green men from Mars, but I promise you, it is not, you know, a group of Cessnas flying in formation. It is a circle of lights. And so, you know, secret government aircraft, something else, I don't know. But I know that I've had this like lifelong fascination with these kinds of stories, and that event was, you know, one of the things that happened. And so,
did you say Edding?
Etting.
Oh, ETT. Okay. Oh, I see it. Oh,
Yeah.
there it is.
Yeah, Cessnas.
So you see the lights.
That's it.
That's not those aren't
No.
Cessnas.
No.
That's not even a formation.
No, it's a
That's a
circle.
circle.
Yeah, that's a circle. And so, right. And
Different
so,
colored lights, too, as well.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, there's, you know, all kinds of things. And so what a profound experience. And I get that it touches on, you know, big questions like, are we alone in the universe?
Were those yours, too?
No, Ray's pulling out his phone and he's just looking up UFO pictures
No,
now.
that was in the search bar.
Oh, right.
And these are like Hollywood
yeah, no,
UFOs
I
over.
didn't see
I
that.
said no.
That was my UFO story.
I liked it.
And we're always looking for the next one. So thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you for
everybody.
tipping us off. And until next time, remember,
The bazaar is closer than you think.